All right, here we go. So if anybody does drop off this call, I just want you to know that it is being recorded. So I will put it in our network group for everybody to see. But hello, welcome. I'm Heather Brooks, and I have Jim D. Wolf, my partner, as well as our guest, Nick. I'm going to give you a little bit about Nick, but if you guys can, in the chat box, I asked to go ahead and drop in where you're calling from. So for everybody that is joining us, let me just kind of give you a little bit about what we're going through. Today, I'm very excited because we have Nick, who's a digital marketing expert, and he really knows the home healthcare industry and the aging client and the people that we deal with day to day, which are businesses who are in the aging sector. You might be on this call, or real estate agents who are dealing with aging homeowners. So this is all about how to increase that sales and generate referrals in a digital age. But I actually like to think about it as how we're going to generate referrals in a digital age, because we all do sales on here, depending on what business we're in. And I like that Nick is going to teach us the whole aspect of what he does. He's going to kind of touch on strengthening online brand, amplifying lead generation, as well as establishing that credibility on social media and within our community, and boosting referrals from aging partners in our communities. And if anybody knows how to do that, it's Nick, because he speaks all over the nation on this. I urge you to follow him on YouTube and other social media channels. He will go ahead and drop his links in there so you can see more about him and what he does and follow him. So Nick, we like to thank you for joining us, and I'll give it to you so you could take it from here and tell everybody about you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just gonna jump right into it. All right. So there I was, getting ready to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. And as I'm getting ready, the fear's starting to build up. I feel it in my chest, my heart's beating, pounding. We get higher, get in the plane, we're ready to go. We've got our training, we're getting up there. We're at 8,000 feet, 10,000 feet. The fear just continues to build and build and build. And for me, the way that I handled this fear was laughter. I don't know. I guess everyone handles fear a little differently. This is how I handled it in this situation. And so as the fear continues to build, next thing we're 10,000 feet, 12,000 feet, 15,000 feet. My friend, he's first. I don't know why, but next thing you know, he's out the door. And I'm like, are we going? Is there a countdown? Is there 3, 2, 1? What's going on? Next thing you know, they're like, all right, stick your foot out, and I'm sticking my foot out. And then next thing you know, and we're just flying down. All that fear completely gone. And I share this story because so often the things in our lives that maybe we're a little afraid of, or a little different, a little outside of our comfort zone, often when we're doing the thing and we're in it, there is no fear, because fear only comes from this idea of something that might happen, right? We're worried about something that did happen in the past, right? And so I share this story because there's some things that I'm going to talk about today that might be a little out of your comfort zone. And so, with that being said, I ask you to keep an open mind. Can we agree to all do that? If you could, just put yes in the chat for me. Say yes. Yeah, give me a thumbs up. More videos, the better. I see some of you guys popping on. I'd love to do that. I set this up the way so, one, that you see more of me and not just this screen, as well as it gives me an opportunity to see more of you. Love it. Kimberly, Renee, awesome. So glad you're here. So, a little bit about me. I'm a digital marketing coach, a speaker. I've been speaking since 2016. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. So when Heather asked me to present, how could I say no? I love this. This is like what lights me up. Being able to just educate people and teach. It's one of those things for me that this time is going to pass and I'm gonna be like, what just happened? Because I'm just in it and loving it, and when you love things, the time just flies by. And so, again, a little bit about me. I'm the owner of Digital Champions, been speaking, business consultant, video coach, social media strategist. Really, and today we're going to be talking about ways that you can leverage this, right? And really building a brand for yourself so that you can increase sales and generate more referrals in a digital age. So many things are changing, right, in this digital world. And so, what I encourage you to do today, right, when you listen to something valuable, write it down. When you come across something important, write it down. The legendary Jim Rohn. Any Jim Rohn fans in the building? I love Jim Rohn. He's phenomenal. So, as we begin, right, what is the single factor that can most significantly drive business, right? A lot of people have different ideas around what this may be. And what I've found, the number one thing that has stood the test of time, it doesn't matter what business you are in, it is in everything that we do. It comes down to building relationships. This is absolutely essential, right? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships, and the quality of your business is no different. So, how can we leverage the different tools that exist that are based on building relationships? Well, what is one of the biggest ones? You may have known, and this kind of guessed where this is going, right? It's social media. This is what it was founded on. This is what it was built on. When Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook way back at Harvard, it was about connecting with other people and other Harvard students. And obviously, it expanded and grew from there, but it has been a fundamental aspect of why it was created. And even with like newer updates that things were created, if you remember, this was probably a few years ago at this point, but Facebook had a huge update where they wanted to focus more on the groups and like your actual friends. And so like business pages took like a real shot, and they still have never really recovered, specifically on Facebook. And we'll get into different types of platforms that exist. I know some people may be like, Facebook's dead. It's definitely not dead. So many people, I get so much business from Facebook. So again, it's still working, and but again, there's a lot of different platforms, and based on who you're trying to connect with, who you're trying to reach. LinkedIn is obviously a huge one. I've been pushing that a lot with my clients, and it's truly relevant in every single business that exists, specifically with what many of you guys do, and understanding that people that are buying homes, selling homes, right, there's actually a higher income gap when it comes to people that are on LinkedIn compared to other social media platforms. So having a higher presence on LinkedIn actually increases your likelihood to attract higher level clients, individuals, based on them having a higher average income based on people using that platform. But one thing that's really important to understand when it comes to social media is that this isn't a strategy. It is a tool. And it's up to you and how you choose to use this tool that is, in fact, social media. And the comparison analogy I always like to use is really thinking of it like a hammer, because a hammer can be used to harm, to destroy, to hurt, right? But it can also be used to build and to create. And so there's a lot of negative connotation often when it comes to social media, potentially even AI, right? And just like it's this other thing that people aren't familiar with and worry about what it is. But it's all about the user and how we choose to use it, how we're interacting with it, what we're sharing, what we're engaging with, what we're posting, right? All of that is up to you in how you choose to use it. And so, in circling back to this key principle, we want to focus on how we're leveraging it to build relationships. So, becoming friends with the people that you're connecting with and making this part of your daily habits, routines when it comes to connections and meeting people when they're going to networking events, people that you may already know, right? Excuse me. There may be people that are already in your network that you know that you're not connected with on LinkedIn, right? Excuse me. Um, and so as we're leveraging and as we're thinking about social media in general, we want to think about how we're creating this as a consistent habit. So I like to think about it as a business card, as a new business card. Because you know how it is, you go to a networking event, what happens? You take that business card, you put it in your pocket, and then you're like, all right, thanks. And then it goes into that drawer, right? I know you have it. Everyone's got the drawer. with all their business cards in it. You're just like, you just throw it all in there, and then maybe you look at it, maybe you don't, right? Sometimes you're like, what was that person's name? Like maybe you got their phone number, right? I'm very anti people that have like the tap phone that like adds your contact, because the issue with that is every time someone does that to me, I'm like, what was that person's name? And now I can't find them in my phone. And so the benefit of leveraging and utilizing social media is that now they're going to show up in your feed and you're going to show up in their feed. And so when you have an active and engaging presence, you're able to stay top of mind and continuously stay in front of people, right? This is a fundamental aspect of business. Understanding that the more times we get in front of people, the more that it continues to build that relationships. I've had so many people come from me. I had one client specifically that now I've been working with him for years. He was following me on LinkedIn for a year. And he told me that. He's like, hey, I've been seeing what you've been sharing. I've been seeing what you've been posting. And because of that, I was able to build that relationship with him without ever even having a conversation. So by the time I got on a call with him, guess what? He was ready to buy. And that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to increase sales here. And it comes from this building relationships, but it starts with, again, these foundations of understanding who these individuals are, who these people are, with people that you're already connected with. So just let's get a little engagement. Let's put this in the chat. If you want to unmic too, that's cool too. Just like, what are some of your interests? What do you like to do on a regular basis, whatever it may be, on the weekends? Just shout it out, not work related, just things that you like to do. Pickleball, love it. Power walk. Oh, I love that. Not just a walk, power walk. Work in the yard, walk with the dog, kayaking. Love that. Gardening. Excellent. Anything else? One more. Hiking, more pickleball, boating. Love it. Ooh, food, restaurants. Yes. Jennifer, what do you like? What do you like to eat? What do you like to eat? What's the specific? Any restaurant? It's like seafood. Oh, hiking, nature,
There's a
tennis. Love it.
Mediterranean place near my house. I'm really into that.
Love that. Awesome. Amazing. Right. And so what we're doing here, you mentioned someone said hiking, right? I love to hike, right? I got this right here. Love to hike. This is actually in Sedona, but I hike. I try and hike at least once a weekend, right? You mentioned Mediterranean. Personally, I'm a big sushi fan. I actually celebrated my birthday last week, and we did this. This is a different picture, but we basically get a private chef to come to one of my friends' houses, and they put all the sushi out. It's like basically as much as you can eat. How many of you guys like sushi? Right? Love sushi. Going for walks. I go for walks almost every day by the bay. The benefits of living in San Diego, it's a beautiful thing, but that's part of my routine. I get out there. It's very meditative. I like it to be kind of, it's not just exercise. I do my exercising in the morning. This is more of like my relax, just like walk in the evening, reset, right? And so what I'm showcasing here and what you may be picking up is that now we have common interests, things that we have in common. When you think about people that you work with, friends that you have, it's based on these common interests and things that you have. So the more vocal and the more things that you share, right, about who you are, the more that people can connect with you on a deeper level. Now, you don't have to go around and like share complex health problems or stomach issues that you may be having, right? But we want to share more things about ourselves on a regular basis. And a quote that I heard at an event that I was attending that was specifically around LinkedIn, and I think it perfectly sums up understanding the best way to think about our social media channels if you are more of a private person, but specifically for LinkedIn, he talked about how you don't need to show photos of your kids, but people should know that you have them. And I think that that is just like a perfect summary of really understanding that people know who you are as a person, whether you're a mom, a husband, a wife, right? All these different things that make you you, that people know these things about you. And we're not just one thing. We're not just our job, right? We're a number of different things. So when you think about your own personal brand and what really focuses you, you may be thinking about different things that really embody who you are as an individual. So this is just me personally. I love to post like general motivation. Heather's always liking my TikToks in the morning, which are just like, again, it has nothing really to do with my business. I just love talking about things that I'm learning, things that I'm thinking about, and I just try and share it, right? My business is based on digital marketing. I have a whole nother TikTok that's focused on those specific content, but I just love talking about things personal development oriented. And then like gratitude is a big focal point. And a lot of that comes from my own self in the sense that it's easy to get sucked into this world and work and trying to, build businesses and make sales and all the things that come into just life, right? And we forget to just take time to be grateful for all the things that we do have and where we are right now. And so for me, it's just so important because I remind myself, I'm like, man, I need to be more grateful. I'm like, I bet other people need to be reminded of this. And so I end up talking a lot about that, right? And so again, this is part of my brand. You may think about, what is your brand? What do you want to portray as your brand, right? Some other things, again, I mentioned personal development. You may share some of your goals, right? I've talked about so many of my goals. Like I want to speak in front of 10,000 people that are all there to see me speak. So that's like my really big, like massive goal, like speaking basically like in a stadium or something along those lines. And whenever I'm speaking at events, I'm always sharing that. Struggles also too. I'm not shy at being authentic and being willing to open up. It's something that has helped me to build the brand that I have today. When I first started speaking on stage in 2016, I talked about Facebook marketing. And oh my God, I was so scared and nervous during that first presentation. But also, once I presented, I realized that it was the thing that I was meant to do. But at the same time, I was teaching about how you should connect with people on social media. And so that's what I was doing. And at this time, I didn't have a business. I just knew that if I connected with more people on social media, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever these platforms may be, that whenever I did decide to like launch my business, which then I did in 2019, I already had this whole brand of people built up that trusted me, that had seen my journey. People were like so supportive because these people were watching me from this first time speaking to then speaking more and sharing all these different things, and then to launching the business, to then growing the business, and moving to San Diego. Like people on social media know my whole story because I've documented it in a transparent way. And that's allowed me to build and create so much more trust where I meet some random person at an event and they're like, I know who you are. I know your story. I know you came from this company, you did this. And I'm like, that's awesome. Amazing. Right. So I know that it's working. And the same thing in how we leverage and utilize social media. It doesn't matter what we're necessarily sharing, right, along our personal brand. What you'll also find is that when you do post something, someone will end up in your inbox. So I find this all the time when I put out a post. Next thing you know, someone's in my email, someone's texting me, right? Because now I'm top of mind. Someone's seeing me. And with social media, we have a way to connect with so many more people. But one thing to always keep in mind is that social media will never take the place of handshakes, but done right, it will turn handshakes into hugs. To me, this is such like one of those really cool things. And I think even just Heather and I as an example is so fun because we've met one time in person. And then now we're like staying connected, and I see like all the content she's posting. She sees what I'm sharing, and right, you could see that relationship like building and connecting just from this one interaction that we have that was in person. So it doesn't take away from that. But now the next time I see Heather, guess what? She's gonna get a big hug because I love hugs, right? But
Well, I got to tell people the funny thing is that when you connect with people, it's interesting, as Nick says, that on this social media thing, as we're watching each other, I called him and said to him, "Hey, I'm thinking outside the box here. What do you think? Do you think you could do a class geared towards people in the aging industry? Not specifically in the demographics or in the kind of business care in which he handles, which is home care.
Home care. Yeah.
Home care. So it's interesting for him to be able to flip exactly what he teaches to people that are of all different types of businesses and, realtors, most of us that are here, but move managers, doesn't matter. What he's talking about is so valuable. And I love it because that one meeting, we started doing this. And I said, do you think you can teach something to us outside of the box in what you're seeing? And So Nick, thank you for bringing in this kind of insight because there's a lot of questions in the chat box. I told people last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we'll have an open Q&A and they can ask you themselves because I really encourage, open mic and talking and engagement. So sorry to interrupt, but
No, I love it.
Yeah.
At any point anyone wants to interrupt me, I'm all for it. It'll just make it longer, but hey, I'm here for it. I am here to support you, but I'm glad I got the extra time to do questions because sometimes I try and jam as much as I can into an hour and then I don't have any time afterwards. So I'll make sure that I leave some time for us to answer any questions. And it's really awesome. Like I love social media and a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching. Yes, my niche is home care marketing or home care businesses. But all of this is fundamental principles of marketing. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on different coaching programs that have helped me to develop these things. I've just tailored it for home care. And I'll talk more about the fact of just like niching down and understanding your audience a little bit later on as we dive into this. And I've created this presentation just for you. So I'll get more into the real estate specific things and how you can start to leverage it specifically for your industry. But one thing, right, this kind of sums up a lot of what we've already talked about today in understanding that people work with who they know, they like, and they trust. This is just a fundamental aspect of business. When you're taking care of someone's home, right, selling it, right, they're like, looking to buy, like we need to have that level of trust that is there. And so no matter what you're in, right, it's not business to business, it's not business to consumer. All businesses or all interactions are P to P, people to people. And so when we understand this human element, we can leverage it to drive greater results for us because people don't want to work with logos. People want to work with real human beings. And with like changes happening in AI and people being like, oh, this is great, I can just like create AI content, is going to start to take away from certain aspects. You could see it. I was with a client earlier. I was like, I don't use any emojis in my posts because you can tell all the people that are using AI in their like social media content because AI uses emojis and it's just like they don't understand how to use it. It's fine. I could do a whole nother training on AI, but for the sake of time, we're going to keep moving on here in how we think about what we're doing. Because the truth is, with social media and everything we're doing, there's a problem. We've only got so much time, right? You guys have busy schedules, you got families, you got things going on where there's only so much time in the day to be able to create content, to leverage content. But how would you guys like to just get leads in your sleep? Does that sound like something you guys would do? Yes, I see some head nods. Love it. Yes, we want to get leads in our sleep. So how can we do that, right? How can we get leads in our sleep? The way that we can do this is through video. When we leverage tools like video, it allows for people to listen to what we have to say, to hear from us when we're sleeping and they're shopping, right? Most people, when they're looking for different things, it's usually after work, right? That's what I tell my home care clients, right? When people are searching for home care, they're usually looking somewhere from 6 to 9 o'clock is prime time. But it's really most businesses, a lot of businesses, right? They're looking and they're shopping during that time frame. And so understanding that we're not always working that time because we're working like 9 to 5. Although, if you're an entrepreneur or salesperson, you're like, yeah, we're always working, right? But understanding that we know that video can be really impactful because, right, according to Forbes, 70% of marketing professionals report that video converts better than any other medium. The big word here, right? Converts. That's the biggest thing that we're trying to do here. We're trying to increase our sales. We're trying to increase our leads. So people like watching videos. So we want to lean into that. And viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch in a video compared to 10% when reading it in text. This one's always funny because have you ever, you've like maybe texted someone or emailed someone and there was no ill attempt in what you were sharing and they were like, oh my gosh, and you get like all caps or something and you get some crazy response or vice versa where someone just doesn't understand or misinterpreted your text. That doesn't happen in video. You get what you get. You're sharing it in the way that you want it to be shared, right? So understanding that aspect and that people would prefer to watch a video right? Compared to reading something. And also understanding that social video generates 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. And this is such an interesting aspect too in understanding with, do you guys remember Vine? Doesn't exist anymore, right? People aren't using Vine. What's the popular platform now? TikTok, right? People are like, oh yeah, TikTok. We'll see what happens to TikTok. Somebody's probably going to buy it, right? It's been banned, but there's too much money involved. Someone's going to purchase it. It's not going anywhere. I'd be shocked. But anyway, the point is that the platforms, the evolution of social media is this, right? New platform comes out, young people adopt it, right? I remember when Facebook came out and I got on Facebook and I was in high school. Guess what my brother said to me? What are you doing on Facebook? That's only for college kids. Oh, how things have changed, right? Now people are like, oh, Facebook's only for old people, right? That's the transition that happens as platforms come out. The youngest population is going to use it. Then once their parents get on it, they're like, well, I don't want to be on this anymore. What's next? And then they move over. And so that's been the progression. Facebook came out. Everyone jumped over to Instagram, right? Then Instagram, right, we started the run, and then more people started moving over to Instagram. Boom, Snapchat, TikTok started to move over. And so that's the progression. And now, right, both my parents are on TikTok. They're not like posting anything, but I do know other parents that are. And so something's going to happen. Another platform's going to pop up. All the young kids are going to jump on. Like, that's the progression. So if like you're thinking about like, oh man, I can't wait to master this new platform, guess what? It's going to keep changing. But if you master video, then it's going to help you across all platforms because that continues to be what people want to consume, regardless of what that platform is. And then even from the perspective of specifically within the real estate market, right? Property listings with video receive 403 more inquiries than those without video. Emails that include video see 96% increase in click-through rate, and trust and transparency. 73% of homeowners say that they are more likely to list with a real estate agent who uses video to market their home. So again, this just goes to show you that people like video. Now, there's different aspects to this. Like a lot of these stats are focused on like you showcasing the home in video, and that's one aspect. But the other element too is how we're showcasing ourselves to get more of those results, right? Because I know there's some like I'm not an expert in the real estate market and what you can and cannot do, but I know sometimes there's limitations on like what you can show, but you can always show yourself, right? And how you leverage and utilize that. But one thing to keep in mind, right? Because there's different ways that you can create video content, right? The one is stock content. This exists. You see it. You see businesses using it's just these boring stock photos. And if you're in the senior care market, this woman is famous. She's like everywhere. I see some people laughing. So if you know, you know, like this lady is everywhere. And I doubt she's getting, any publicity or any credit for all of the content that she's on. And I'm sure, and then I looked up like some real estate popular, and I've seen this one before. Maybe you've seen this, right? It's like, oh my gosh, everyone uses this same image over and over and over again. It's like, this isn't going to work. Stock content doesn't work. Why? Because great brands have a face, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your face. In this case, it probably likely will be as an agent, right? You're trying to brand yourself depending on what your role is. If you're, the owner and you have multiple people, you may have different brands, but every company has some type of face, not always an individual, right? I heard Gary Vee actually talk about this, and I've talked about it in the past, is that like certain insurance, right? You've got the Gecko, you've got Mayhem, right? You've got these individuals that like when you think of them, right? You're not thinking of the logo, you're thinking of the character, right? Flo, oh my gosh. The caveman, that got so popular that they almost made a show about it. I think they actually did record the pilot and probably was trash, so they didn't release it. But the fact that it got that far, right? A character that they made for commercials almost had their own TV show. Insane. But it goes to show you that people want that feeling, that facial recognition of this character, of this person, right? And when you think about your pages, right, people are following you because of you. if you were to, let's say, post a photo on your personal page of you, right, hiking, and then you posted that exact same photo, but you did it selfie, I guarantee that you will get twice minimum engagement and reach with your face in it compared than just the photo. People want to see photos of people. And then the other example of this too, when people use like stock content, you ever see a group photo and you just look at it? Do I know anyone in this photo? Right? And you're like looking and you're analyzing, you're like, oh, there's that person I know. Right? What that's actually happening is there's more that goes on in understanding how the algorithms work. Is that the longer that you're paused on a photo, the more that it tells the algorithm, hey, people like this. And so when you have a group of photos of people, more people are stopping and looking at it because they're trying to find the person that they know and then it looks real. And so whether you have a business page or personal pages, when you have this like group photo, it's going to get more engagement, specifically when it's people. People want to see the people that they know. Hey, I know that person. I've even had comments, I'm sure you have, like when you're in a really big group and they're like, oh, Nick, I was looking around for you and I couldn't find you. And then boom, I found you, right? People are looking for you. They want to use it. So we got to think about really being more personalized in the content that we're creating and not using the stock content. It doesn't work. People don't want to see it. Input yourself, right? Real estate is better at this, right? You guys, you put your faces everywhere, which I appreciate because a lot of businesses don't do that. And if you're not doing it, you should. Like, you should have a photo of yourself on your business card. You should have it on flyers and brochures. And like, if you see any of my, I mean, my face is on this slide. Like, I put my face everywhere. I want it to be out there constantly where people are seeing me both on just that recognition, like, oh, this is Nick's post, right? And so the more that we can do that, the more powerful it becomes. Another option that you can do when it comes to video is to hire a local production company to come by, right? If you haven't noticed, actually, a lot of my images are AI generated. This is a new update that I did with my slides. Pretty cool. But a lot of people do video, but here's the problem with these production companies. Again, you can look this up in what the stats say, but 30-second video, $1,500 to $2,500 for 30 seconds. Insane. Another example, $4,000 to $15,000. And again, this is such like a limited amount of content that you're getting for this price that people charge in this industry. Another one, 2 to 3 minutes, 15,000 to 10,000. It's insane that people would pay this much. I know someone that paid 10 grand for a 1-minute commercial. And to me, it just baffles me when you have so many great tools and ways for you to create and utilize video yourself, right? You got your smartphones in your pockets, and we can get more into that later on, but understanding that you have the tools that you can. There is a third option too, and this is the future. And so I'm going to shift gears a little bit here, and I'm going to share something with you. So bear with me for a second. Okay. Hi, I'm Nick, owner and founder of Digital Champions. The world of video is evolving rapidly, and if you're not adapting, you're falling behind. But here's the thing. So many people hesitate to jump into video because they're afraid to get on camera, think it's too costly, or claim they lack the time. But what if I told you there's a better way? Imagine recording just one video and then magically transforming it into countless variations in a matter of seconds. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. This isn't actually Nick speaking. It's an AI avatar version of him. And guess what? Even this script you're hearing was crafted by AI. That's the power of technology at our fingertips. Say goodbye to the barriers holding you back and hello to a world where video creation is as easy as a few clicks. Ready to join the future of video? So you may have picked up a little bit as I started to play it. You're like, yeah, he's mentioned AI a few times, right? And so you can see, like, the way, and you may have noticed there's one part where like my eyes get really wide and like looks kind of weird. And part of that was because it's just the learning process and understanding how AI works. And I messed up when I recorded the video. That's like the base, right? So I learned that I haven't re-recorded a new video to use because I made this fairly recently. But it just goes to show you that this is what they're creating right now. It's only going to get better in how things start to change and evolve in this digital landscape and things really evolving and how AI is going to be incorporated. But not everyone's using this tool yet, right? There's some people that are using it, but we can get ahead of it and still start to create content ourselves. So rather than using AI, how about we do it together? Hold on, technical difficulties. Let's do it together? Yes, sound good? Yes, let me get some head nods. Yes, excellent. All right. So, where do we start? So, there's a couple different types of videos that we can create. One, connection, two, social proof, and three, educational. And we're really going to talk about all three of these as we dive in. And so many of us, right? We want to be different. We want to stand out. How do we really differentiate ourselves in a crowded market, right? What makes you different? You know, hey, we're selling a home, we're buying homes, right? It's very similar across the board, right? There are specializations, we'll get into that. But the one thing, the number one thing that makes you different from everyone else is your story. What's your story? Why are you doing this? What gets you out of bed in the morning? This is one of those things where when we can really think about what our why is, right? Anyone read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek? Phenomenal book. And really he addresses again this key part that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. And the more that we can share, and again, I touched on this just in social media in general, but even just having a core video that talks about who we are as an individual and our story is what separates us from someone else. These are the things that allow us to connect with people, right? This is part of that connection and how we're able to really create these deeper levels of establishing this, like someone actually feeling like they know who we are. But we have to be willing to do it. We have to be willing to get on camera and share who we are and talk about our story. And it doesn't have to be some crazy, emotional story, right? I work with a lot of home care agencies. So there's a lot of like personalized, people starting because they cared for their mother or they cared for their grandmother. They can be emotional stories, but it doesn't need to be some crazy story. And sometimes people come to me like, Nick, but I don't really have a good why. Like, I just wanted to like start a business. Like, that's fine too. Like, it doesn't matter what your why is because it's yours. It's just about allowing people to better understand who you are as an individual so you can connect with them on a deeper level. And there's so many ways that you can start to leverage this as your story, right? Whether you're adding it to, a website if possible, right? Depending on what you do, you're featured on your YouTube channel, any brochures, flyers, things that you're printing out, your business cards, boom, it goes right to your video. You can add it to your email signature, right? You can send it to before a client meeting, right? Oh, hey, here's a quick video just so you get to know a little bit more about who I am. And so now you feel like before you even walk into that room to meet this person, they feel like they already know you. It makes that much easier when you're establishing these connections, right? Messaging it to referral partners, right? You're at a networking event, you're talking with a bunch of people. Hey, it was really great to meet you, by the way. Here's a quick video that tells a little bit more about me and who I am and why I do what I do. Right, adding it to your LinkedIn profile. So there's ways that you can pin it to your LinkedIn. So it's like one of the first things that people see. And then your Facebook pages, if you have a business page, you can pin it so it's the first thing that people see when they come to that business page. So that you can control when someone's coming to that page for the very first time what they see just by pinning what do you want them to see first, versus just being like your most recent posts. So lots of ways that you can leverage this. And a lot of my clients are using like, right, I went to a networking event, met a gentleman, I didn't even know him. And he just walked up to me and said, Abby, I watched your video on your website. Your story about your sister was really powerful. She's like, I didn't even know this person. He just walked right up, right? The more people that know us, the more impactful it's going to be to drive results in everything that we do. The more that people know who we are. And so this creates an opportunity for people to dive deeper into who we are. Because let's be honest, someone goes to your About Us page, like, are they really gonna like read your lengthy bio and wording? But if there's a video, they're gonna be much more likely to watch it, right? Really giving you that perspective. This was another example of one of my clients. Just it's a good representation of what this can do. In this case, right, this is somebody that was talking about wanting to join their company, right? So you may not always be recruiting employees, but again, the reason I kept this in here was because this is an example of how powerful it can be. Like, I think it's wonderful what you guys are doing. I'd be honored to work with you. Like, what? That's what can happen when you're sharing your story because, Maya Angelou said it best. People won't remember what you said or did. They remember how you made them feel. And that's what we can do by being willing to put ourselves out there, share about who we are as individuals. So that's one way, right? So one way to differentiate ourselves and increase sales. Well, we can increase sales in other ways, right? Who wants to increase sales? Yes? Yes. Love it. See the hands go up. Love it. So how can we do this? Well, there's a little hint on the board. But when it comes to when you're shopping on Amazon, what do you do? What do you look at? What do you search for? You're like, hey, like, do you read reviews on Amazon? Because I honestly don't. I look for pure numbers. I'm like, hey, if it's got like over 1,000 reviews, like, and it's like over 4.8, I'm like, that's good enough for me, right? I don't need to look at reviews. So there's this quality or there's this numbers aspect of understanding. Like, people want to see reviews. So whether it's like Google reviews, which can be really powerful, if you're using or leveraging Google reviews, like one of the best ways to get increased SEO, like immensely. But another aspect and way that you can do this, and I see this all the time, right, in the real estate, people like just take a photo of them with the keys, and they're like, "Oh, great, we got this photo with the keys, and it's nice, right?" But what if you could just have video testimonials of all the people that you've worked with and how much they enjoyed and loved working with you? Because look, I can stand up here and I can be like, "Hey, guys, I'm pretty great. You should probably work with me. Like, I'm awesome, right? I'm cool." But that's not really persuasive. You guys are like, oh my God, this guy's an idiot. But what is impactful, right, is if you look at this and you go to my website and you see over 25 videos of people talking about how great I am. So what's more impactful, me saying, hey, I'm great, or 25 of people that I've worked with saying how great I am? My goal is to get 100 on my website. I actually have a bunch that I need to add. So it's actually closer to like 35 video testimonials of people. So do you see how leveraging and utilizing testimonials could be impactful for you, specifically around people, understanding what maybe objections that people have, right? Because when it comes to real estate, right, and trying to find the right person, there's a lot of objections that they have, right? Can they trust you? Do you know what you're talking about, right? And that kind of leads into the next part here and how we're showcasing ourselves as an expert, because content is king, right? This is the world that we live in, putting out content. These salesy posts don't work, but when we educate people, that's what people resonate with. People do want to learn, and people are searching. They're looking for things to learn. They're looking for information, right? And there's kind of 3 E's to creating content: educate, empower, and entertain, right? Are you not entertained? So the more that you think about this when it comes to an educational standpoint, entertaining, right? We want to focus more, in this case, from the education. That's where we're going to lean into, and that's what I'm going to focus on for some of this presentation. But if you can incorporate more empowering or entertainment, right? A lot of this, people call it like edutainment, has become a really popular term, and understanding that it's a different way to consume content. So the more engaging and fun that you can be in content you're creating, the better it's going to perform, right? Renee, that's a great question. I'll share some really cool tools that will help you with that at the end. Remind me at the end when we do the questions. So YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Do you guys know the first? Google. Yeah. Now, things are changing and evolving, but still Google is reigning superior by far. And so just by having and understanding that Google actually owns YouTube. When someone's going and searching like real estate in your area, right? By creating YouTube content, you are now more likely to show up. And we'll talk about how you can show up as well by getting more specific into what you share. But it also increases your SEO. So just by having a YouTube video on your website, it now increases your SEO. So there's always like backlinks and things and how that work. But a big part of it, right, is people going in and searching, because a good YouTube channel, a good YouTube video is like hiring an employee you pay once that works for you for free for weeks, months, and years to come. An example of this, right, is specifically with me. I have a lot of home care examples too, but for you guys, I thought I'd share one of my videos. This one video, I think I made it maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago at this point, close to 2 years. It's got over 4,000 views, which is far more than a lot of my other views. But I don't know if you can see this, but it's contributed to 102 subscribers just from this one video. And so I share this because, again, these numbers aren't like, oh my God, like I'm not trying to get 100,000 subscribers, all right? I'm not Mr. Beast, and I'm not showcasing that I am, or that you're going to get this, okay? So understanding this aspect is that this is a niche specific video, simple home care marketing strategies. So this is based on me specifically in my niche getting results. And this video has generated so much business for me, driving leads to my lead magnets, like free trainings that I have, and then business down the line just from this one video. So again, you don't need millions of subscribers. You just need the right ones to be able to grow your brand and grow your business. So keep that in mind. But we want to showcase ourselves as the expert, right? And there's lots of different real estate content you can share, right? So marketing updates, neighborhood guides, virtual tours, home maintenance tips, right? Investment advice, real estate, frequently asked questions, sharing your success stories. We talked about that, right? Buying tips, selling tips. Because here's the thing. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, and really leaning into this. So just an example, I used my trusty friend ChatGPT here to come up with some different topics, right? So these are some top topics that you could talk about specifically around selling, right? Home staging tips to sell your house fast, right? How to price your home to sell quickly, right? All these things that people are searching for. You've also got buying, right? Creating your dream home wish list, right? Essential items, how to find the perfect neighborhood for your new home. All these things that people want to know, these are engaging topics that you can create that are going to help you to be discovered, as well as people that you're already working with or touch with where they're shopping around, right? And so the reason why when I focus with a lot of my clients, and I always say, I'm like, I'm not here to make you go viral. I don't care about that. I don't care about views. None of that matters. It's about getting the right people to watch your videos. Because if you get 25 people the right video, that's a lot more than 1 million of the wrong people. What's going to drive the greatest results is getting people that you're already connecting with, already trying to reel in, right, to work with, and converting them. And that's how we're able to use these videos. And then there's ways to go into different specializations that you may have, right? We talked about, if you're working with aging, right? There's a lot of aspects there too. And we'll get in, I actually have a list I'll share in a sec. But understanding that when you're leveraging and utilizing your niche within real estate, that helps you in being discovered, being searched more, right? Understanding that the more you focus in these specific areas, the more that you're likely to be found, right? So the more specific you can get, right? I focus on home care, even though a lot of what I teach can help all businesses. But I tried that when I first launched my business, and it was a big flop. It didn't work because I tried to help everyone. And the more specific focus you have, the more that people are going to say, oh, you're the person for me. And that's why niching down, having specializations drives so much greater results, where so many people are so afraid of niching down because they think it's going to hurt them, when really it is massive in helping you, because you're getting more of those people to say, oh, this person's right for me, right? They specialize in, office buildings, right? If you specialize in office building and you're trying to sell an office building, and you're like, oh, this person's for me, right? Understanding that aspect. And there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage your videos when you start creating them, right? You're sending your prospects to them, they're checking them out, you're sending them to your YouTube channel. You can even drive marketing materials with brochures that have your channel on them and letting people know, hey, check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. How many people do you know that have a YouTube channel? I know a lot of times people think that like the younger generation like love video and are always on it. It's not true. Because a lot of my friends like that I follow, they're not doing many like Instagram stories talking to the camera. It's not a common thing. Talking to the camera. People love video, right? Oh, let me record myself like on a bike ride or on a hike. Like anyone can do that. But talking to the camera takes a lot to be able to do that and step out of the comfort zone. And this does work, right, in how we're leveraging LinkedIn. But when you say you're active in the community, right, you're going to networking events, showcase that, prove it, right? You say you're an expert, create video content that you know what you're talking about. And then there's ways that you can collaboration. As you can tell, I'm speeding it up because I want to make sure that I have enough time because I thought I had more time. Anyway, no worries. When you have a show, you can really leverage and utilize this as a channel to get more referral partners. So this is an example of Paul, where he started his channel and he was like, oh, I got this great YouTube channel. And then people started reaching out to him. And so what happens is now you have this vehicle that you can use. Here's another one, Jonathan, right? He's probably working with a lot of people that you may work with, right? Assisted livings, right? Here's some potential referral partners that you can do videos with, right? Home care, home health, hospice, elder law attorneys, financial planners, reverse mortgage specialists, type of assisted living, independent living, memory care, right? Senior move managers, professional organizers, home modifiers, whether you're doing any of these things, right? These are all people that you can partner with, or you in these individuals can work and create content around this topic. All right, I'm going to close with a quick story. In order to be great, we must first be good. In order to be good, we must first be bad. Perfectionism is the number one reason to not get started. Done is better than perfect. So real quick, and I'll open up for questions. So there's this old man, and he's walking along the beach. And as he's walking along the beach, he sees all these starfish all up along the beach. And as he's walking, he sees this young boy, and this young boy is just picking up the starfish, chucking in the ocean. He's picking up the starfish, chucking in the ocean. And the old man walks up to the young boy, says, what are you doing? And I'm throwing the starfish back in the ocean. But you're never going to save them all. Yeah, but I made a difference for that one. And so when we're thinking about different content that we want to create, is think about the impact that you can create by sharing this, right? Helping someone to avoid an insanely costly mistake that's going to cost them, right? Potentially thousands of dollars that you can save them from if they just knew this information. And so often we're so concerned about our own self. No one cares about video. They care about posting the video. If I told you, hey, just share a video right now, you'd be like, sure. And then I'm like, post to Facebook. And you're like, no, don't make me do it. Right. And so when all of a sudden we're being exposed to this judgment, that's what creates it. So the more that we can use this and really just put ourselves out there, get uncomfortable, focus on the one person that you can help. All right. I know there's a lot of great questions popping in. So now just jump into some questions here. All right. What's the best way to answer these questions? I just go from the top.
I had people like raise their little hand.
Okay.
Sarah Campbell's first. So I'll let Sarah open it up and let her
Perfect.
ask away.
Hi. So when you were saying that people are watching video and we are kind of focused on the baby boomer and silent generation, those two generations are watching video, because I'm 50 and I hate watching video. I'd much rather read a bio. I'd much rather read a post than watch someone's video. So I just want to, I know it, everybody says video is king, but is a 75-year-old really going to watch a video of me talking, or would they rather read?
The short answer is yes, but also understanding that, is the 75-year-old your actual target audience, or is it their child that you're really targeting? Are they the core
Ultimately,
person?
their child.
Right.
Ultimately, but I still want the business of the 75-year-old.
Right. So understanding like that's the business, but if it's the child that is watching it, now you're looking at more of like what the 40 to 50 potential range of that individual, in which case they're absolutely watching it. And so from my experience, the majority of people like watching video above anything else. Yes, are there people that like to read? For sure. But the majority of people would rather watch a video. I mean, think about, I mean, I literally had yoga this morning. I'm walking by this assisted living facility and the guy is just sitting watching TV. I mean, the old
Well,
people,
yes.
well, okay,
Yes.
so video,
But like
TV.
like I can't stand it. Like I go right past, if there's a video, I'm annoyed and I go past it. So okay, I just need to just let go. I'm just weird and I need to accept that, I guess.
Sometimes it's not about you, it's about what most people are consuming. So even though you don't like it, most people do.
See, and I'm going to just chime in because that video part that you're talking about, Sarah, you also have to look at the demographics and what you're feeding that demographic specifically. So if you're speaking to the sandwich generation, you're not going to be putting on stuff for the senior demographics. You're going to be putting on stuff that they have questions about, stuff that they are going through. So perhaps they're wondering, who do I call, or what is an end of life doula, or what is, somebody that's going to come in, and a home care agency that's going to come in and help you from stem to stern. Those might be the questions that they would be asking. So really, like, you got to know, we've done classes. I'll do another class at some point soon. When it comes to your avatar, like who you are marketing to. And then you really need to ask the questions. What does that demographics need from us? What is the resources that we can offer them? Because what resources we can offer one generation or a sandwich generation isn't necessarily what we're going to offer for the older adult homeowner. For instance, sandwich generation, multi-generational housing. Start there. When you're talking about, really putting stuff out, talk about multi-generational housing and how you should think forward about having a grab bar and, just giving little kind of things like that, and then connecting with people. So really niching it down. He's giving you kind of like a really, I think of it as, he's a coach. Nick's got the coaching side, and I love the stories that he brings because it connects us all. But he really gave us a breakdown, very easy for all of us to understand why we need to be doing this, why we should connect, why we should be marketing together, people to people.
Yeah. Also, one thing, Sarah, too, and Kristen kind of hinted at this, but you can actually go one step further, is that, and this is what I do, I teach all my clients to do it, is we take every video that we create and then we convert the transcript into a well-written blog. And so now you have the content both from the video format and the written. And so I've had plenty of clients that say to me like, oh, I actually like to watch the video and then read it. So like they actually do both in many cases. Now, again, my target audience is entrepreneurs, so they tend to be more into that like learning space. And I know someone had mentioned like video length too, but I want to make sure I'm following the order. But you can convert it into written. You can't convert written into video, except with an AI avatar. But again, we want it to be more real. All right, who's next?
Vicky Schwartz.
Okay, so thanks for taking my question. I was doing some video last year. So I was recording it, editing it on YouTube, then posting it to YouTube, and then sharing it through my CRM out to like, all the different social media platforms. So would you suggest having YouTube be your main platform and then sharing it out to the other ones through YouTube, or just posting separately to each separate platform, like taking the same video and posting it to YouTube, then Facebook, then Instagram, then TikTok, then LinkedIn? What do you think would be best?
Yes. So great question. The way that social media platforms work is that you always want to be uploading the content directly to the platform. So for example, if you've ever posted a YouTube link on Facebook and you're like, man, nobody liked that. It's like, yeah, because YouTube is a competitor of Facebook. And so you basically never want to post a YouTube video to Facebook. LinkedIn can be a little bit more friendly with YouTube videos, but generally I find it more effective to upload the video to each platform. And then when it comes to the email perspective, what I recommend is you're sending someone to your website with the blog, with the video, with the YouTube video. Because now
Okay.
you're driving more traffic to your website, which then increases your SEO. And so rather than going to, and then they're watching the YouTube video on your platform, so now you're getting the YouTube views as well, and it just tends to look a little bit cleaner.
Okay.
Plus, you're getting that search. Like no one's going on Facebook and searching for videos, right? Whereas with YouTube,
Right.
so as your primary email marketing campaign, that's what I recommend. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Kristen Sanchez is next.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, just curious about video. Do you mostly put up your raw videos or are you getting them edited or editing yourself?
Great question. So, depending on what your budget is, generally I recommend that you do have your videos be edited. Just in a world where people are creating, video content, we want to do things that are going to be more engaging and stand out. But I'll give you a little shortcut secret to the sauce is there's a lot of really great resources like onlinejobs.ph, which basically allows you to find video editors for $4 to $6 an hour that will edit your videos and do an amazing job. You can even find potentially even cheaper than that, or
Well,
you can find like a
what was
college
it called again? Because I want to put in the top.
onlinejobs.ph. Now, keep in mind, like you will end up getting like 400 applicants. So there's like different processes and things that you can do to make that interview thing easier. Another option is just like going to Fiverr too. So, and just seeing, to me, the answer to one, yes, your videos should be edited. I think it's better, more professional. It says that you care a little bit more when you're willing to take that time to have it be edited. But it's not necessarily required. And then, two, there's a lot of reasonable costs like options out there like Fiverr and online jobs and people that can edit your videos based on what your needs and what your budget is.
What about our teenagers?
Yeah.
They,
I mean, sometimes people think that they're going to be better, but they actually lack the professional in understanding. Like some don't even necessarily like know the term B-roll, right? Like they may be able to just like make certain clips, but with simple like training, they can make more professional content. I mean, you can even edit videos like in Canva. Canva is cool because like you have you can get like video clips that like, so B-roll is basically secondary footage that goes over top of whatever it is that you're talking about. And so it creates the videos to be more engaging, and it's like, hey, you're talking about meeting and connecting with people, and then it's like two people shaking hands, right? Like it just creates the videos more engaging, whereas younger kids aren't as familiar with that type of videos. They're more like, oh yeah, I can put captions on the screen and I can like, so they have certain skill set. It all depends on the individual, not necessarily. It's kind of being like, all old people can do, I don't know, play what's that, couldn't even, what
can
was it?
play
What?
bridge. All old people
Bridge.
can
That's
play
what I was
bridge,
trying to
but
think
they
of.
can't.
Bridge. Exactly. It's like that's not the case. Like everyone has different talents and skill sets that they can or cannot do based on their own, age. Who's next?
Joseph
Danica?
is.
Danica. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Danica.
You're cute. Uh, yeah, just a quick one. Like how long of a video? Like what's going to engage an audience? What to make it kind of not go up to, I guess, in length.
Yeah, so this is such an interesting question, and like my answer is always however long it takes to like educate them, and not necessarily creating content based on trying to make it a certain length or not. So like what I find a lot of times in this like, TikTok world is like everyone's trying to make 1 minute videos, and so it's like, "Oh my God, how can I cram so much in?" But like there's not really like a lot of context. I mean, how are you supposed to share a complex topic on how to sell your home in like a more comprehensive way in 1 minute, right? And so what I do with a lot of my clients is we usually aim for around like the 3 to 5 or 5 to 7 mark, and then we repurpose that content into 1 minute clips. And so basically now you're taking that longer form video and now you're able to then repurpose it into a 1 minute clip to share across Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, what did I say? Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, right? And so now we're able to repurpose this content that we already have, but making sure that we have this longer form content. I mean, when you think about the greatest creators right now, you know, like the Alex Hormozis and um, um, Joe Rogan, right? Their podcasts are like sometimes 2 hours long, but then they take the 2 hour and people are watching that, right? Like, and YouTube does want like longer the content, the better in some cases. A lot of my YouTube videos are now, I'm aiming for more like 10 to 12 minutes, just because again, that's my target audience. Understanding who your main target demographic is going to help with that. But when you can just repurpose it, it makes it that much easier. So now you're getting the long form and you're also have that short form.
Perfect. Thanks.
And we've got Joseph up next.
Hi, so I'm coming from a little bit of a different background, and I just wanted to tag on to what Nick is saying, and I'll probably talk to Nick later about more details about his system. So I'm an estate planning attorney, and I have a real estate license, and whoever's concerned about video and the target demographic not watching the video or anything like that, I've been doing it for the past 4 years for estate planning, and I'm all over YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn and all that stuff. It works. Video is way better than anything else. I just pulled up my stats so that I can just kind of give you guys an idea of what I've done so far. Over the past 4 years, or maybe 3 years actually, I've spent $78,000 on advertising on Facebook and Instagram, and I've gotten 4.4 million views from that, and it works really well. So, but you don't have to be concerned about getting into it. It's just that if it saves you time, which I like the AI video that Nick showed me, you can spend that time finding another client. And so, you know, posting, thinking of what to post and all that stuff, it takes a lot of time and effort. And what I've done for myself is I make a video. Um, Karen asked me if I'm Joe Knows on YouTube. Yes, that's me. I have some videos on there, and then I have videos with my kids and stuff like that. But um, if you do it efficiently, it works well. If you have to record yourself doing a video every single day and think about what you're going to say and change what you're wearing and edit it and all that stuff, it's going to be exhausting. So that's my 2 cents.
Are you doing paid targeted ads? And
Yes.
not just on your page, but you're doing the targeted ads too?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm all over the place. You cannot get rid of me.
I love that. Sorry, I tried to pull up your channel and then it made noise. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but I was trying to find your channel.
If
But
you
that's
look up,
awesome. And
I'll post it in there. Sorry.
you bring up a great point too, in understanding like advertising and being able to put money behind potential. So, like I've had clients that have done that same thing, you know, where they're getting 10,000, 20,000 views on their videos just from spending like a couple $100. And so like based on what your budget is and leveraging, and again, if you know that people want to see video, then having video ads become that much more impactful in how you're able to leverage that to building your brand, creating that brand awareness. And then there's even ways to leverage certain ads with retargeting campaigns and how that gets complex where you can, hey, somebody watches, you know, if you've got, I've seen people run ads or an hour-long videos where they're running ads. But then what you're able to do, if somebody watches like 5 minutes of that, then you can send retargeting ads, and now your money goes further because they're only going to people that watched at least 5 minutes of that video, or will at least watch 2 minutes of that video. So you can't really do that with a regular standard post. Yes, you can like run retargeting based on someone clicking it, but having that where someone actually sat and watched it creates it so now your marketing dollars go a lot further when you're leveraging video as advertising. So Joe, I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you, Joe, for telling everybody. Karen Powers is up next, but somebody said, what about geofencing? I've been hearing a lot about that.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that. I mean, I've heard people talk about it. That's not my
Okay.
expertise.
I'm gonna put that on my little radar so we can find somebody about that, because I have heard about geo fencing.
Isn't that just like more focused on just like your geographic area and targeting people? I'm not sure how different that is comparatively to like.
I've done stuff like that, but I'm not sure. They're coming up with new terms all the time, so it's probably something that I've done in the past, and now it's just a new terminology. And anyway, so I'll look into it though and get back to you.
Yeah, okay. So I've heard of this too. I just Googled it real quick. Usually I go to ChatGPT actually, but with this, right, like when someone goes to a specific area, right, you're retargeting them. And I've heard even this like with Walmart where they have like Bluetooth sensors within like these stores so that when you walk by them, it can actually like send you like campaigns based on where you were walking through the store. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that goes into it. But in circling back to the thing to keep in mind is like when it comes to YouTube as well, is that you have your location on your YouTube channel. So based on when people are searching, when you're trying to find that demographic area, it makes it more impactful because if you're trying to build your brand in a certain territory, then now you're able to, people are more likely to find you when they're searching when you're in that area because you've now told YouTube, hey, this is where I am. So focus a little bit on geographic, but also ads can focus on like your target area. And there's all different aspects too, and how you can leverage where you're driving ads to, like whether you're driving to like a free lead magnet, right? So if you're not familiar with a lead magnet, it's basically a digital download that you can send people to that they'll download. And then now you're able to collect those email addresses and then retarget them. However, whether they're into an email campaign or whether you're just using those email lists for other retargeting campaigns within Facebook and other advertising means where you can upload email lists and then target that. So side note, you always want to collect as many email addresses as you possibly can because YouTube could be gone tomorrow, TikTok could be gone tomorrow, and you don't want to basically build your land on borrowed property, right? It's a good expression for the real estate people, right? You don't want to build it on this land that you don't own. And so when you get people's email addresses, hey, like they're yours now. So keep that in mind.
Okay, really fast, because I know we're gonna have to jump off and we do have Karen Power still ready, but I do want to make a quick announcement, and our announcement is for next week. Liz Brown, if you don't know who she is marketing guru on Facebook, over 61,000 followers on Facebook. And she's going to talk about how to connect with older adult homeowners through Facebook. That's next Friday, June 21st. I've been putting stuff out free. You don't have to sign up. And so check out all of that information. What she is going to teach us is very fascinating. She's going to talk about Reels. She's going to go through each portion of what Facebook does and how to really hone in on what we want on Reels versus what we want on stories versus what we want on other things. But the crazy thing is after I talked to her about our demographics and I gave her a little bit about us and about what we do and the niche that we really work in here, she decided to put a video together and said, Heather, tomorrow night, I want you to check this out. I'm going to put a video together. And she put a video together on downsizing and her parents living in a home after 50 years and blah, 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 blah. Next thing I know, I call up Jim. I said, there's less than 24 hours. There were 800 views on this. And basically it was about being a treasure hunt. Like, it was a treasure trove of stuff that's in her parents' house after all this time. The next thing I know, it is less than a week later, guys, and she has over 80,000 views on that video. So she is going to come here next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give us tips and tricks on how to target, what to put, how to talk to that demographics, how to, as Nick was talking about, really connect. It's people to people. So again, going back to everybody has a connection. You just have to find your own. That's all. That's my personal opinion in the whole thing. Karen Powers, can you please go ahead and open up your mic and ask Nick?
Oh, so well, I just wanted to share some encouragement with people. So I'll be quick. I hate video and hate being on video, but I just recently started doing it. And right now I've just been using my YouTube as a library. And then I have it on Facebook. I put it on LinkedIn.
Oh, I think she cut off. Yeah, I think she got Karen. I think you cut off. We can't hear you. But it sounds like it's really good news, and I like good news.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that people are doing it. A lot of my clients that I work with, they don't want to do it, but they are willing. And so they sign up with me because they're just like committed to creating the content, even though they're not necessarily super excited. And then once they do it, they're like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought. I wanted to answer another question too that somebody had mentioned about getting video testimonials. So there's a oh no, am I really blanking on this name right now?
I think I went out. Sorry.
Oh
Yes,
no.
you did. Did you want to finish what you were saying about how your YouTube? I'm hoping it was great news.
Yes, no, that's why I want to encourage people, because when I went to another class, they were saying that, even if sometimes in person, you're not getting as many people as you want, right? So when you go on video like this, you're getting a lot of people, and it's true. So I've been getting like 200 to 300 views, and they're not necessarily watching the whole video, but I can tell you when I'm out and about, people are saying, hey, you should talk with Karen because she works with seniors. So people are seeing it, and they're seeing that you're giving them items of value, because one, you just mentioned a death doula, and that's one of the people that I did interview, because she's someone that I met and we networked. And so people love the information. Then I figured out how to do the real piece of it now. So anyways, I'm just here to encourage people.
Love that. Yeah, real quick, to get more video testimonials, video ask. You just like send a link and someone can then like send a video testimonial right from their phone. All they have to do is click. What I recommend though was when you ask people testimonials, that you actually give them prompts on like what you want them to say. First being like, hey, can you send in a testimonial? You can say like, hey, what was it like, before working with us, and what is it like now? Or, what result did you see? Right. But like giving them something that's going to help them to better create that testimonial, just to help them out a little bit. Also, for wait, who just spoke? Nancy? Is it Nancy? If you're doing interviews, there's an AI tool called Opus Clip. I wanted to mention this to you, Heather. I don't know if you're using this.
I use Office Clip.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was very shocked you showed them the AI video because I wasn't sure if you were going to roll that out just yet.
Well, I just like showing it, even though I'm not necessarily offering it, because it's a
It
cool
was such
thing.
a great sneak peek, but he is going to be doing training and stuff on this. They are working on something on this. So I know big things are coming for Nick.
Thank
Very
you.
exciting for you.
Yeah, Opus Clip basically allows you to repurpose content into short clips. So save
Hey,
time. Don't do
Joseph,
it
did
yourself.
you have another question? I know your hand's raised. Are you okay? Yeah. Oh.
No, I left it up by accident. Sorry.
I did put in the chat box your website so people can find you. Nick, thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you coming on and giving us all this information and knowledge. I know it's great when we can kind of, intersect everything. But the best part about all this is the tips and tricks and the little gold nuggets of information that all of us here get to learn. So, but you can catch Nick and I actually at the National Aging in Place Council, because we're going to do marketing classes over there as well. And I thank you guys for coming. I did put in there about next week with Liz Brown. If you are not checking her out on Facebook, I highly suggest that you go check out what the video I'm talking about. And it was about a museum piece. It was quite interesting. It's got over 80,000 views. So that is going to be the video that she's going to be debuting. And I know she's going to trickle out a few more. So we'll see how those videos do. But there is need for knowledge, on video for the stuff. There is clearly. Joseph, when he talked about it from a personal stance, I mean, when you guys open up your mics and you tell us the positive stuff that's happening, it's so important. You just never know the person who you're touching on the other end.
100%. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you guys sticking around longer and being engaged and asking questions. I always appreciate that. A lot of my website's going to have my business pages, but if you want to connect with me, like on LinkedIn, on my personal pages, and in my other personal channels, you can connect with me at thedigitalchamps.com/Nick, and you'll see.
I do know somebody did ask about LinkedIn. you know, you said you were using it for connections. That was a great
I
thing. because
love,
I-
yeah.
I
LinkedIn is
LinkedIn
amazing.
person. If you're not using LinkedIn, you guys really should be. I write articles on LinkedIn all the time. I meet fascinating, interesting people, but it's a great way to really stay connected with industry experts and kind of stay ahead of the game from people around you. So is LinkedIn also okay for businesses or just individuals? That was the question. Thank you, Brooke, for asking, because I remember
Can you
that-
expand on that, Brooke? What do you mean by that specifically? What do you mean okay? Like what is Can you unmute? I mean, I can kind of guess what you mean, but I'd like to hear more of an explanation on that. But LinkedIn is great for both. So 100% it's amazing for individuals, no matter what you do or where you do it. Because again, your network is your net worth, right? So the more that you build up your network, the better off you're going to be. And the business pages on LinkedIn, I've found to be really effective, specifically one posting articles where I actually just embed my video and then I have the blog post. So the same thing I do on my website, I actually do on LinkedIn. And that's been really amazing because I got all these like newsletter followers on LinkedIn, as well as creating events on LinkedIn because it makes it easy to invite your connections. So anytime you're hosting events, the business pages can be really helpful for that. Because you probably can create an event from your personal page, but I'm not sure if you can or not. But either way, creating events for whenever you're hosting something can be really help to invite people, whether it be digitally or in person.
Somebody also asked, anybody use Alignable? If you do, drop it in the chat box. I don't know.
I get so many emails about that. Like people every once in, well, not, I shouldn't say so many, but every once in a while, I don't know.
So-
I try and lean into like the big ones. So like if the majority of people aren't using it, then I'm not going to waste my time with it. So that's my.
So Michelle,
sense on that.
Michelle and Kristen can connect because they both use it and they can talk about it. But we're going to get off because I've used enough of everybody's time, especially you, Nick. I so appreciate. I cannot wait to see you soon. However, we'll continue on this journey with our little Zoom marketing classes that we're doing. I appreciate it for coming together with us. You all are welcome to join us next week with Liz Brown. Nick, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much. Have a good
Thanks for
evening.
having me. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.